This video is going to be a tutorial video for how to solo Spire the Watcher during the Rite of the Nine event. This video is going to be more going back to the basics to allow players of lesser skill who have never soloed before to get their foot through the door to begin. The reason why this is a big opportunity for me, and it's more of a tutorial based video, is because Bungie has added a tutorial mode for dungeons. This is quite huge. Now, there's going to be some information for veterans in this, not just beginners, but this video is mainly focused at players who haven't soloed before and maybe want to start soloing. Before I get into it, disclaimer is, at the time of me making this video, nobody has soloed ultimatum mode. It's not feasible. Somebody at some point may solo this in the next couple of days. I'm not 100% the progress so far that people have made. But even if somebody does, say there's 3 or 4 or 5 players that do solo it, no one else will. It's not feasible to solo it because of the hard damage gates on both bosses requiring a 3 phase. You can't 4 phase, 5 phase, 6 phase, etc. So I can't cover this difficulty as a solo basis, but I can cover eternity, and I will do. But for now, today, I want to bring everything back to base, and this is a video for everybody rather than just some people. So the modifier, Explorer mode, it says, fixed power, no darkness zones, enemies are weaker, grants a bonus to damage when on a less than full fire team. Legacy dungeon triumphs cannot be progressed in this mode, and the dungeon exotics will not drop. So you won't get the dungeon exotic, and you won't get solar flawless emblems, but you will get a ton of loot. Here's what you will get. You will get weapons to drop that you've attuned for, and some other random drops from this dungeon. You will get currency that is called Nonary Manifold. You will get... Also, you'll be able to accomplish bounties and stuff, and you may get a rare skinned weapon. I got this, Terminus Horizon, I believe, from Explorer mode, which is huge that I got it from this. I don't know if I should or I shouldn't have, but I'm saying that you can actually get... They're not adept version weapons, but look at this. This is insane. So you can get a ton of loot from just doing Explorer mode, right? But it also says that you do more damage. Now, I don't know the exact damage. Maybe somebody out there knows. I've tried researching it, and nobody's mentioned what the damage bonus is. If somebody knows the damage bonus of this and how it scales, let us know. I'll be very interested. I don't know what the damage number is on this. But you're going to do more damage if you're solo. So it's fire team scaling. And I mentioned yesterday, the con or the disadvantage to ultimatum difficulties, there's no fire team scaling, right? But we have fire team skill, and it's just for Explorer mode, which is insane. I would have loved fire team skill and for ultimatum, not to say to nerf it too much, but just enough that the solo might be possible for ultimatum to more players, and it's not really. Maybe someone will do it, but that's not the focus of the video. So you've had that information. Again, this is just going to go, we're going to bring back everything to the basics. Now, with swap and loadouts, you can do that in this difficulty, so I've made some dim links. Bear in mind, on the harder difficulties, you've got to only switch boots, and you still get the surges and things like that. But on this difficulty, you're not at a disadvantage, so you can run multiple loadouts. So what I went with, so for the first half of the dungeon, I'm going with a Precious Scars build. I've just got this weapon, it's fantastic. Heavy burst pulse rifles are very good in the game. I'm not saying it's God roll. I don't know what the God roll is for the weapon, actual fact. But if you don't have Cruel Mercy yet, use Corrasion. Corrasion's a fantastic pulse rifle as well. Heavy hitting. You don't have to. I'm just saying this is actually a good build for starting players. With Precious Scars, it's a very good start and loadout for somebody who's just started playing D2 to play. Now, I am using a pre-order exotic. What I would say is that just run Queenbreaker's Bow if you have not pre-ordered the new expansion. But I'm using it because I'm very interested to see the damage it does on dungeon bosses. New Land Beyond, that is. If you don't have New Land Beyond, use Queenbreaker Bow. It'll do more damage than this anyways. Yeah? This is for the first half of the dungeon. LMG wise, if you don't have 21%, use Watchful Eye. Watchful Eye is technically a better LMG than 21% technically, and it's more available to players, so you can just use that instead. I'm using 21% Delirium because I want to use it, and I actually do recommend it for starting players to run an LMG. It'll make sense in the run more so. So we're going to get lots of restoration from our arc weapons. New Lambion's my DPS weapon. Remember, it's a 70% buff at times 20 stacks. There'll be a dim link for this. I am going to surge switch, which I'll end up doing that to Curious the Fallen Star. So we're using T-Crash. I'm not going through everything because there's going to be dim links and I don't want the video to be too long. As a new starting player, you'll just use the dim links and then you'll go through it there. The next build will be for the final boss. So we're still sticking with Precious, but I'm going to use Grand Overture because I want to retest it and reteach people about this Grand Overture strat at the final boss fight. I'm using Lost Signal because people have it. It's very good at the final boss fight. And I'm still sticking with Cruel Mercy. Then I do a surge switch to yet again Curious the Fallen Star with T-Crash, and then obviously we've got Surges on. To do the surge switch, just quickly. So what you want to do is have a healthy finisher mod on the class item on this build. Then when you swap to this build, you'll have a time dilation and then triple surges to match the element that you're going for. In this case, it was Grand Overture. In the other case, it was Kinetic Surge because I'm using New Lambion as my DPS weapon. But yeah, there'll be dim links about this stuff. And as I say, this is more of a tutorial based video, and I'll even go through some of the tooltip information if I can on the run. So like I said at the start, this video is going to be from the perspective as a beginning player in D2 to start their solo journey. And this is a good place to start, at least on the dungeon side of things. Best place to start in the game. And you get dungeon loot, and you can do dungeon quests as a result of it. So for players, it's actually like beneficial to players who want to start solo, and this is good. This has got a good opportunity to do it. We'll take care of the Goblin first, then the Minotaur will spawn in. So I'll read the tooltip information. So kill the Minotaur, and it says, defeat conduit Minotaurs to drop pools of attrition, step into the pools to gain the attrition buff, which allows the user to destroy nodes. Right? So you pick up a buff, you get 45 seconds. That is longer than general. It's generally 30 seconds, but you get a time extension for each node you shoot. There's pathfinders to show you where all the nodes are, but take the route on screen. There are 4 circuits in this. I like this path, and I do it no matter what difficulty. Even if it's on ultimatum, I do it in this way. Although I don't clear the Cyclopses like I am in this run. I'm clearing the Cyclopses to try and get some damage stacks early for No Land Beyond. New Land Beyond, sorry. Just because I want times 20 stacks when I get to the first boss. Yeah, or somewhere near that. Because that's when you get the 70% buff. That is your goal when you're using this sniper, to get 20 stacks. It's massively beneficial to do that. After 20 stacks, there's not much benefit. Only 3% bonus. I mentioned this yesterday. So follow the route on screen. You just follow it. Like I said, no need to take the Cyclopses. But if you are using New Land Beyond, maybe there is. Because a crit, for another stack, you're not going to clear ads at all, even for new players. Your incentive is actually to skip all of the ads as much as possible. If you need to kill another Minotaur for attrition buff, you can easily refresh the buff. But again, you probably won't need to, but for the newer players, if you do need to, don't be ashamed about that. Just quickly kill that Minotaur and then you've refreshed your buff, no problem. So just follow the route on screen, keep doing it. Like I say, I'm just building up a couple of extra stacks. That's all I'm doing. Because it's just a pain to get the stacks later on the Vex. See, Vex Goblins are very bad for crits. Yeah, they're just not ideal. So I'm just getting crits when I can on some priority targets. Yeah, just continue with the route. And then you're not going to complete any circuit until the end. So I can't read that tooltip information in time. It's going to run out. But yeah, the goal there is to complete all the 4 circuits at once at the end. This will stop the supplicants spawning in. That is not only a tip for beginners, but that's also a tip for veterans. Don't complete one node. You need to complete all 4 at the end. That will stop the supplicants from spawning in. They will kill you, even on this difficulty, very easily. 3 of them explode, you're dead. Even on this mode. On Ultimatum, you're definitely dead. On Eternity, you're definitely dead. So, the trick is to complete all 4 nodes at the end. Then when you get to Exploration, this is the Explorer part. There are pathfinders to show you where to go for some players who have not played this dungeon before, look. Very handy to new players. I think this is a nice addition. Like, imagine someone playing Ghost of the Deep for the first time. Yeah? Ghost of the Deep has very tough traversal. When people play Explorer mode for Ghost of the Deep, whether it be next week or the week after, it's going to be very good for them, new players, when they come into the Ghost of the Deep and like, where do I go? Well, I know where to go because the game tells me. And that will have learned your traversal for the next mode. Because the traversal is the same. Whether it's Explorer mode, Eternity or Ultimatum, all the traversal's the same. So now you've learned the traversal, which is a big thing. Good. For newer players, I'm on about. Alright, you can use Lion Ramparts on a Titan, but if you don't want to use Lion Ramparts, just use Seismic Strike. Make that jump. I'm going to show you chest number 1. I'm not showing you the 5 collectibles in this video. I didn't want to go that in depth to it. I just want to show you the 2 chests. And it's a tutorial solo for Spire the Watcher on the base difficulty. That is literally what the idea of this video is. I'm not going into collectibles. There's videos on showing you how to get the collectibles. Alright? There's videos out there. I don't need to... What, you want me to tell you it again? People have already told you the collectibles, so I'm not going to go over it again. But I am going to show the chests, because that is rather important. Because you may get a weapon that you've already obtained, but a better roll. Could be Terminus Horizon. Could be a God Roll Wilder Flight. Who knows what it could be? Even though it's not Adept, it could be a God Roll. And then therefore a Keeper. You know, Adept weapons still aren't in the game as that much more powerful than standard weapons yet. We're not there yet on that power creep. There's no power creep yet on Adept weapons. The difference between Adept weapon and normal isn't really that much of a difference yet. And the normal, as long as you get the God Roll on a normal weapon of the Rite of the Nine, you, for the most part, 99% of you should be happy with that. Especially if it's a God Roll. Again, because there's Adept weapons, people are going to question, oh, I should have a Adept version, and they think that the power difference between Adept and non-Adept is like 50%, and it's not. It's more like 10% or maybe even 5%, which been mentioned before, but in Frontiers that's going to change. Yeah, you can put a banner in, but I don't need to, I've got all the ammo, but I'm tight with Ray banners. I'm tight with it. So if you want to put a Ray banner in there, put it in. Okay, this is you're climbing a tower with the same mechanic. No tooltip on this. You kill the Minotaur, you turn around, you shoot the 2 fuses. Now you can go left or right, up to you. Follow the pathfinders on screen on where you go. But the elaboration part from me is that, yeah, follow those, but if ads get you weak, kill them with your arc weapons to get restoration with Precious Scars. This is why I'm recommending Precious Scars for players who are going to be completely new to these fuses and this bit. It's very handy just to shoot an ad and get restoration. This is a new beginner's... I mean, obviously, you can use Precious Scars in a very advanced way as well, and you've saw me do that over the years. But I'm using it in a very beginner's way as well, because when you've got a multitask thing going on in Destiny 2 where you've got to shoot panels in Vespers or you've got to shoot circuits, for those types of things, restoration just becomes a very good perk to you, because it allows you to multitask ads and circuits very easy. In terms of if you get weak, I mean, you're less likely to get weak in this mode, but you could use Precious Scars in Eternity and it would work absolutely perfectly, if not even better in that, because it's needed more. So restoration builds, health builds, when you're shooting panels or fuses is always the way to go. And again, on the higher difficulties, it matters even more. So follow the route on screen. Like I say, there's 3 levels. Each Minotaur can drop the buff again and refresh it. But what I want you to do as a new player is try to not have to get a buff again, and try and manage your attrition buff so that you use it once for the entire tower. Once you get to the level that you can use attrition for the entire run with 1 buff, you've mastered it. That's when you've mastered circuits and you're good. And then, no matter what difficulty you play, even Ultimatum, you will find that you can multitask fuses and the attrition buff without having to get it again. There is a less timer on ultimatum and normal to cycle buffs. It's 30 seconds as opposed to 45. So there is that. And, you know, if push comes to shove and you do need that buff again, then you need it. So you go up the elevator and that unlocks it. On this mode, there is no Hydra to kill. There's no Harpies to kill. On the other modes, there's Harpies and Hydras to kill. And there's a boss. On this mode, there is not. Important difference to make. Final level. So again, left or right, up to you. Just follow the pathfinders as it goes along. Again, manage your HP. I mean, obviously, I'm not getting weak, but people who are a bit more stationary might get a bit more weaker. Don't kill the Hydras. I didn't know this. I learned this on the run. If you kill Hydras, you get supplicants. I didn't know that. I don't know why I didn't know that. I guess because I always skip Hydras. But I was killing them because I wanted buff stacks for New Land Beyond to prep it. I'm prepping my stuff. Also, prep 3 orbs before the boss if you can. It's not the end of the world, but prepping before a boss damage, before you even get there, is actually good because you don't need to think about it again. This will give you a 22% buff for surges. Not that you per se need it in this. You don't. But, you know, this is the whole basics of Destiny 2. You know, what do orbs mean? What do they matter for builds? Well, orbs give me surge buff from the boots. Yeah, this is a big deal for like boss damage. So even just learning that, you can use that I've said and apply it to other things in the game. Remember, not swappies in the game for ultimatum, but you can still get surge buff. The difference is that you just swap boots and that is it. You swap the boots and you still get the surges. So we're technically still doing surge swapping in the game. Even on ultimatum, it's still occurring. I don't know. I was expecting that not to be the thing. If that's the case, that's the case. That's fine. I'll just go with it. But I'm just mentioning you still can do it on high difficulties. Right, this is the first boss, Achilles. So what you want to do, it doesn't matter where you go. I'm just shooting some of the goblins for my buff. So I'm at times 15 stacks. And my goal is to get to times 20 stacks. But obviously these goblins are a nuisance with their crits. And it's the only enemy race there are. Like Hive are fine. Fallen are fine. Cabal are great. Even Taken are fine, although they do twitch a lot. But Vex in particular, they're a nuisance with their diamond crit. But that's all I'm doing right now. Then I'm going to explain the mechanics. So, same thing. You kill a Minotaur, you get attrition 45 seconds. The mechanics on this difficulty are dumbed down a little bit as opposed to what they are on the harder difficulties. But there's not much difference. I'm going to tell you right now how to do this technically on all 3 difficulties. You just go to any side, even on the harder difficulties. Doesn't matter on your ships for now. And you're not going to complete any of the routes, but you're going to complete each fuse until the last fuse possible and then leave it. Because this stops harpies from spawning in. There are 3 waves of harpies. Now, you can get them to spawn in all at once, which is very beneficial. Because this means when you're shooting pillars or fuses, there will be no harpies up. This is critical for Eternity mode, and it's critical for Ultimatum as well. Yeah, on this difficulty it's not, but the way I see it, no matter what difficulty, standardize it right across. This strat I'm showing you works on every single difficulty, even Master Dungeons, because you're not completing any route. You're just getting it to the final fuse. Yeah. Now, when you're on the harder difficulty, you've got to shoot it in a pattern, whether it be square, triangle, or, you know, and all that stuff. You don't get that on this difficulty. But what I'm saying is, it's good to do this, best practice, because you spawn in the harpies at the end, not at the start. And that's really good. So I'm just getting my buffs. I want 20 stacks. I'm just very curious to see what New Land Beyond does against Achilles, the boss. Once you get to your 4th pillar, start completing them at that point. So look, you can shoot them from a distance. See? You can start finishing them. And there's, you know, you can see. Don't finish the 4th. You need to do prep. Prep for the damage. We're going to load out swap, which, as I say, isn't pressureful, so don't worry about that. I am going to kill the harpies. I highly recommend, no matter what difficulty that you run this on, you always kill the harpies because they flinch you. If you're on console, PS5 or Xbox, being flinched out of damage is a no-no, right? It's just not good. It's not good for damage. It's not good for your sanity. It annoys your gameplay. You don't want it. So the way around it is just to kill the harpies right before the 4th pillar. So that's exactly what I'm doing. So we get rid of all the harpies. You want to make sure you got your super and your grenade and your 3 stacks of armor charges. That's exactly what you want to do. So we're doing that now. Any harpies left, just take care of them. And then get your attrition buff again. You will probably need it because it'll have run out, but that's no big deal. And now what you're going to do is take the final pillar, pop a barricade, and you're going to use your machine gun to take care of the eyes. This is the strat for new players. Also, rocket sidearms work, but we're using LMG in this case. So you're just going to shoot the eyes from right to left. I just do it like this, and you're just going to easily take them. DPS starts on eyes. Now you get more timer. I'm going to pulse grenade for jolt, then super. Then what I'm going to do is just crit with the sniper. Look at the damage. We do a weird mantle there. Also, if you get close to the boss, it's easier to hit your crit, right? And then we're going to do another barricade round about here and then just keep critting. Now it looks like on this difficulty is that you guaranteed are allowed to do half damage to this boss. Because this is the beginner difficulty, so it makes sense. Right? So you're allowed to do half damage, so it seems. But we'll swap back to my base loadout with Precious Scars. Now, I didn't know this, but on this run, you only need to do 1 more circuit, not 4. For latter phases, which is incredible. I didn't know that. So they are making it a lot easier for this. But what I am going to do is farm super up, because I don't believe on the 2nd phase it gives you unlimited damage time, but on the 1st phase it does. I think so. So I am going to farm up a super and some armor charges, because we're going to kill the harpies anyways, so that by the time I kill the harpies, I'll have close to a super anyways, so I may as well just farm it out. Just, may as well. Like I say, you're going to be unkillable anyways because of Precious Scars, so I'm just clearing them out. So we're halfway to a super, and now I want to do is start making orbs. That's exactly what I'm doing. We've completed the circuit to the finals. Don't obviously start DPS until you're ready. Don't do that. That's a big no-no. So we're just going to clear out the rest of the harpies. My ammo's good. I've done a quick ammo check for special weapon. Obviously machine gun's on just for the eyes. That's all it's on for. Yeah, I'm just going to keep getting my double kills to build up my super energy, and then we'll be able to start damage. I can start it right now, but like I say, this is more of a tutorial video and for players who are just starting to solo, etc. But yeah, for sure, you could just start damage without the super and you'll be doing just fine. But like I said, we're farming it up anyways. Okay, so I've got my attrition buff. I've got my super, my grenade, because grenade adds jolt, adds damage to your T-crash. I've got all of my stuff, armor charges, so I shoot the fuse, then I go into my menu, do the loadout swap. We Curious the Fallen Star, I pop a barricade, and then we're going to, like I say, I have a formula, I go right to left, then to mid. Right, mid, left, like that. And I just shoot all the eyes. I believe you get more time for the eyes as well, so it seems. T-Crash pulse grenade. I've got limit break on, which I forgot to mention that, and I should have mentioned that earlier on. But again, it doesn't matter. I guess artifact mods don't really matter in this at all. It's something I forgot to mention. But yeah, the boss is basically done. I'll pop another barricade here. Just get a quick reload, and then we finish the boss off. 110k per shot. That's really good damage. I'll be interested to see what damage it's like on Eternity. To see what that's like. But anyways, that's the damage. That's the first boss cleared, so you'll be fine. Again, you can't solo flawless this dungeon. Well, you can, but you won't get the emblem. There's no benefit to solo flawlessing. So if you die, you can res back up. Remember that. I'm going to swap to my Grand Overture setup. The reason being is because we're prepping now to get 20 missiles with Grand Overture. Now, Thunderlord exists. If you're an Arctitan and you just wanted clear, you can use Thunderlord. But I'm trying to spread the word that if Grand Overture has a meta in anything in this game, it's definitely this boss. Grand Overture is the perfect weapon for this boss fight. The final boss fight, that is. So I'm just going to build up my missiles and clear these ads. This is the Pillory Stacks encounter. You don't get loot for it. But essentially what you want to do is just clear the ads, preferably with your heavy, because there is a banner. You just want to get times 20 missiles as much as possible. Yeah, it just saves a lot of work lifting at the final boss. But it is really worth to run Grand Overture in this. It's incredibly good, right? It is. On all difficulties. You just shoot the stacks, you get the attrition buff from the Minotaur. You're timed, but you don't have to shoot a particular node. You just shoot them in any order you want. On harder difficulties, you need to shoot them in a particular order. Okay, the fans, I believe they can kill you still on this difficulty, so just be careful of that. You just want to make your way down. And then what we're going to do is again repeat with Grand Overture to get the 20 times stacks, and then we're done. We're prepped. And try and get free orbs, which you will. You will, because you've got Arc Siphon on. That's why Arc Siphon's on. But you do need to clear some ads to spawn in the Minotaur anyways, so that's fine. But this loadout's really good, and it will be really good as well for Eternity mode. It will be. But yeah, we'll just clear out the snipers. Still want to clear these ads because they're going to get in the way when you're trying to shoot the nodes. Okay, so we'll just get rid of the Minotaur. Then you want to come to this location, and then there's 5 or 6 nodes you need to clear out like this. Again, you are timed, but the time's more forgiving on this difficulty. Shoot them all, and then it's circa complete. And then you've got the final floor, where you've got to do... it's probably the hardest combination. It's not that hard on this difficulty. It's harder on the other difficulties because the nodes are randomized, whereas on this they're not. It's going to go through the fan section again. Now there will be a Hydra that spawns. I think there's 2. So just deal with him with your lost signal and your barricade and your ball charges. Take care of the Hydra first. Again, you need to clear some ads to actually spawn in the Minotaur. So you do it anyways. You're doing this. And you need to shoot 5 circuits. There's 1 in mid. That's hard to shoot. Or can be where you're standing. And there's 4 on each side of the wall. So... Minotaur spawns in, we'll get the buff. There we go. Get some rid of these fanatics, just be careful with that. I actually set off the circuits too soon. Lost signal set it off. So yeah, I said if that happens, just let it time out and get rid of the Hydra in mid. Because I end up missing there, look. Man, how am I failing on this difficulty? That's just because it's set off sooner than I expected. But again, get rid of the Hydra in mid, for sure. I'm going to get a quick reload with Grando so it's ready for the boss fight. And now what you want to do is shoot middle first, then the 4 walls. It's the easiest way of doing it. But again, on the harder difficulties, it's not like this. It's randomized, which makes it harder. Here's chest number 2. I'm not going down there. I'm just showing you where you go. You go down there, you get your chest. There you go. Free loot. Okay, so for the final boss mechanics, it's gonna be we're gonna be doing everything you've learned so far with more nodes, but this time it's only gonna be 2 circuits rather than what it used to be 4. It's only 2, and it's not. There's some mechanics dumbed down for this difficulty as well. Okay, so you're gonna get 2 Hydra spawning left and right. Spawn kill both of them with your lost signal and your abilities. Gonna do that. Like I say, you can quickly melt them down because you got the damage bonus. Then you want to go and get a buff from a Minotaur. Be careful of supplicants. They always spawn. Use lost signal to kill them, to disintegrate them. Then you're going to shoot the 5 circuits in middle. They're on a timer. If you miss the timer, you just have to redo it again. Okay, there you go. And then that opens the doors up. So it's a 2-phase room. Yeah, there's this side of the room and you open up the next side. You've got 2 circuits randomized. Follow the pathfinders for that. I'm going to do 1 circuit at a time for players who are new, just on purpose. This circuit under the stairs is the hardest. We missed it, that's fine, we'll get it though. Be careful when jumping the stairs, the boss can stomp you here. So you've got to jump over and jump quickly on that bit. That's the most dangerous bit, I would say, for people. Complete 1 circuit, not 2. Just 1, do 1 at a time. Or you can do 2 but leave the final one at the end. Yeah, don't do the node until you're ready for DPS. You want the boss to be in the other room. If you don't do it right, it won't start properly. Okay, so the second node, the pathfinder bugged out. I don't know why, the objectives, but I know the routing. It's fine. This one you got to jump over like that. Okay, and we get the final node. Make sure that you shoot the node when the boss is in this room. That room I just exited. If the boss is not in that room, you won't lock him in. You're locking him in the room. That's what you're doing. Look. Right, then these open up. Shoot the 5 nodes. Then what you're going to do is surge switch to your loadout. There's plenty of time to do this. Again, you don't have to do this, you know, on this difficulty. Pop a barricade down. Overcharge Grand Overture. Look at the damage. And then after that, 20 missiles. You want to keep doing the shots to build up at least 18 or 19 stacks. Keep going. Don't super yet. No super yet. Then overcharge. Massive damage. Do a lot of signal damage. Then do your T-crash. And you'll do more than half damage. A very easy solo 2 phase this. So you're firing 40 missiles at this boss with a super. That is what you're doing. Very easy damage on this difficulty. Again, I don't know what Thunderlord damage is on this. I haven't tried it. It's probably similar or comparable. Not 100%. But Grand Overture is very powerful in this. Especially on harder difficulties it is as well. I know we've got Lord of Wolves that's still crazy in the game. And you've got Queenbreaker with Div. You know, you've got He's and Vengeance. Elemental Honen damage. You've got stuff like that as well, of course. Surge swap back to your original loadout with Precious Scars. Now, on the second phase, you can come into this room because it's already opened. That wasn't the case on phase 1. This allows you to strategize missiles. It might look like a waste of ammo, but it's not. And the chances of you getting a brick are quite high. You'll at least get 1 brick. Okay? So you should at least get that. You want 20 missiles again. Again, it's not hard for new players to do this. You're just going to wander the map and hip fire Grand Overture at the ads until you get times 20 stacks. And I think for newer players, it's better for you to do this. It's better for you to expect, you know, rather than just putting Thunderlord on. Thunderlord's a very easy exotic to use. I know that and I get it, and it's effective. But I think for new players as well, you need to get used to managing stacks of buffs. Grand Overture is a good starter exotic for you to do that. It's a good visual exercise for you in this game to manage a buff while you're fighting ads. Thunderlord has no visual buff like that. You just stick it on and you use it. So it's a good place to start doing stuff like this. Managing buffs. Grand Overture is good for that. Okay, so I've got my times 20 stacks. I'm happy. You only need 20 ammo in combination with 20 missiles. That's the amount of ammo you need. You don't need a lot. Remember, you need a times 20 stack and another times 20 stack and then 20 ammo, and that's all you need. And a T-crash. And you will kill the boss very easily. Get used to baiting the boss round corners. Percy's, you just bait him round. Double void resistors help. Obviously on this difficulty you don't really need it. Complete one of the circuits, then start working on the second one. Farm up your orbs of power. You only need 3. This is not a high demand. It's not a high demand at all. Restoration is working wonders in this bit, of course, as well. Just because it does with the Arc Primary. Okay, we'll just refresh the buff. Again, don't have to, but we're going for the next node, to be honest. And I'm farming super energy up. I'm doing two things. Okay, we'll go around this boss here. This is the final node, final circuit. Which we're doing that right now. Make sure the boss is in this room before you shoot. Don't do it too soon. Get the boss in this room, then do it. Reactor surge procs. You then go back to middle. Forget about the Minotaurs. Make sure you got buff still. Attrition buff needs to be on to shoot the nodes, remember though. If not, refresh buff at Minotaur. 5 nodes. Do a loadout swap. 2 curious. With triple arc surge. Barricade goes down. Make sure volleys are ready. Pulse grenade for jolt. Do your volleys. Then do hip fire shot with Grand O to get the missiles loaded. You want at least times 18 stacks. I mean, not even that maybe. Something about that. About around 17 stacks is good. Yeah, and then just finish off with T-Crash. But that was a solo for Spire the Watcher on a basic level. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.